If your baby can only fall asleep near you, or wakes up the moment they're laid down alone, you need to understand what this actually means, because what looks like simple dependency may reveal something much deeper about how the infant brain interprets safety at night. You wait for them to fall asleep, you do everything carefully, hold them in your arms, rock them gently, their body relaxes, their eyes close, then you try to lay them down, and within seconds, they wake up, sometimes instantly, as if the brain somehow noticed that something changed. And that's when the exhausting questions begin. Why do they only sleep with me? How do they know the moment I leave? Am I creating a bad habit? Why can they relax in my arms, but not alone? Because the strangest part is this. Many times the baby was already deeply sleepy, but the moment proximity disappears, the entire body shifts back into alert mode. And here's the detail that changes everything. Maybe your baby isn't too dependent. Maybe their brain simply hasn't learned yet that sleeping alone is safe. And what that really means goes much deeper than most people realize. Most people explain it in a very simple way. They got used to being held. They're too attached. They need to learn to sleep independently. But there's one detail that changes the entire picture. Small babies do not understand separation the way adults do. And classic attachment research, including the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, points to something profound. The infant brain links physical closeness to biological safety. In other words, for a baby, sleeping away from a caregiver does not automatically mean independence. Many times, it means vulnerability. And here's the part almost nobody notices. During sleep, the brain reduces environmental monitoring. And for an immature nervous system, that can be extremely difficult to do alone. So maybe your baby isn't fighting sleep. Maybe their brain is still trying to decide whether it's truly safe to let go and relax. Now pay close attention to this, because this may be the most important part of the video. A baby's brain does not fully switch off during sleep the way an adult brain does. It keeps monitoring signals of safety the entire time. Smell, breathing, physical presence, voice, the rhythm of the environment. All of these send the same biological message. You are still safe. And when those signals suddenly disappear, the nervous system reacts, not because there is real danger, but because the brain still struggles to separate absence from threat. Research on infant sleep regulation, including studies from the University of Notre Dame on mother-infant sleep synchronization, shows that a caregiver's presence directly affects stress regulation, alertness, and physiological stability in babies. In other words, your baby is not just sleeping beside you. Their brain may actually be using your presence to stay relaxed enough to remain asleep. And maybe that's why some babies wake up the exact moment you leave. Because before the brain can even think, the body notices the safety pattern changed, and the less predictable the environment feels, the harder it becomes for the nervous system to fully relax. And when you look at this through the lens of human evolution, everything starts making sense in an almost uncomfortable way. Because for nearly all of human history, babies never slept alone. Never. The infant brain evolved expecting nighttime proximity, body warmth, nearby breathing, movement, physical contact. Presence meant protection. Now think about what happens today. A baby who is biologically wired to sleep near other humans is placed alone in a quiet, dark room without any human signals nearby. And the adult expects the brain to interpret that as safe. But maybe the baby's brain is still interpreting the exact opposite. I lost my point of protection. And this creates something very deep, the conflict between ancient biology and modern expectations. Because maybe your baby is not trying to control you. Maybe they are simply trying to sleep in the only way their brain still understands as safe. And the more you realize that, the less this behavior looks like dependency. And the more it begins to reveal something far more primitive, a small developing brain trying to stay regulated while entering the most vulnerable state of all. Sleep. And this is where everything starts to make emotional sense. Because many parents notice the same pattern. The baby is exhausted, but still can't fully let go. Heavy eyes, slower movements, almost asleep. But the moment separation is sensed, the body wakes back up, as if the brain suddenly has to choose between two things: sleep or staying alert enough to feel safe. And maybe that's exactly what's happening, because on one side, the baby desperately needs rest. But on the other, the nervous system still doesn't know how to fully relax without familiar signals nearby. So the brain keeps checking. Are you still here? Did something change? Am I safe enough to let go now? And that explains why many babies sleep deeper in someone's arms or pressed against a specific person's body. Because it's not just emotional comfort, it's the nervous system reducing vigilance. And when you understand that, those difficult nights start to look completely different. Because maybe your baby isn't fighting sleep. Maybe their brain is still trying to feel safe enough to surrender to it. And if all of this could be translated into what the baby would say, it might sound something like this. When you're close, my body slows down on its own. I don't have to monitor everything all the time. Your smell, your breathing, your presence make my brain feel like everything is still okay. When I realize I'm alone, my body starts searching for safety again. I'm not trying to control you. I just still can't fully switch off by myself. And that changes everything, because from the outside, it looks like a baby who doesn't want to sleep alone. But on the inside, there's an entire nervous system trying to decide whether it can finally relax without staying on alert. And maybe the most important part is this. Your baby isn't sleeping on you. They're using your presence as an extension of their own sense of safety. And that explains why, for many babies, proximity isn't just a preference. It's what allows the brain to finally let go of the world and fall asleep. Now, there's something many parents experience without realizing the connection. Many babies who can only sleep close to their parents also startle very easily during the night. They wake up suddenly. Tiny movements wake them. Small environmental changes feel huge, and that's not a coincidence, because both behaviors may come from the same root, a nervous system that still depends heavily on predictability in order to fully relax. During the day, this may appear as wanting to be held constantly. At night, as difficulty staying asleep alone. And the more you connect these patterns, the clearer something becomes. Maybe the issue was never lack of independence. Maybe the brain is still learning how to feel safe without monitoring the environment all the time. And this is exactly where many parents have that moment of, so that's what was happening. Because behaviors that once seemed completely separate suddenly start making sense together. If this kind of content helps you see your child differently, subscribe to the channel. Because here, you don't just learn about behavior, you learn what's actually happening inside your child's brain. And that changes the way you see every reaction. Now, if you want to understand why some babies get startled by the smallest sounds and movements, especially at night, click the video on your screen. There, you'll discover what the infant brain is really trying to do in those moments, and why it changes everything.